So I would like to invite them to the floor. And Birgitta Martensson is today with us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. We are super delighted to be part of this talk, to learn and to share. And we are pleased to share with Birgitta our vision on how, from a society perspective, we like to join you to fight Alzheimer. So I would like to give to Birgitta the introduction of this nice talk, and I will deep dive a bit more on this initiative after Birgitta introduction.
Yes, hello everyone. It would be nice to see you. Oh, you're all black. Anyway.
Yeah, because I asked people to.
You did. I think I like to see them react.
Okay, so you. Okay.
Well, anyway, so I'm here as a person living with dementia, like my mother did, and my 2-year-old sister also has got dementia. I was the managing director of the Swiss Alzheimer Association. So I know quite a lot about dementia. And I was diagnosed 2 years after I finished working for Alzheimer. And it was a very long process because I made, I don't know how many tests. And finally, the diagnosis was made thanks to a lumbar puncture. That's probably because I had a very high brain capacity. So all the normal tests just didn't catch me. So finally it was this lumbar puncture, and that was a relief for me because I knew, and then finally the doctors also knew. So I had a diagnosis, and I have treatment with 2 treatments. I have donepezil and memantine. There was a professor who said I should take memantine as well from the beginning. It's supposed to slow down the progress. And I live alone. What you see is my library, where I sit working and have my visitors. And it's in the upper floor and the 6-room apartment, and I share the garden with my neighbors. And so far I manage everything in my life alone, as I've always done, like finances, cooking, friends, sports, traveling, reading, and it needs more time. And sometimes I have problems, but so far I've always managed to find a solution or get someone to help me, like with booking travels or things like that. And so living with dementia is not difficult. It's definitely not difficult. It's not hurting. And if you keep telling people around you, then it's nothing to be afraid of or to be ashamed of. So I'm very sorry for all the people who don't want to have a diagnosis because they feel that, oh, it's dreadful with dementia. So what I think is important for people who live with dementia is to have an early diagnosis, and as soon as possible in the earlier stages, because then you can take your own decisions and planify for your future life. You can decide, take all the decisions you want yourself for your future life. You can inform people around you, family, friends, and other people around you. And then you can also try to find out what are the special homes there are for people living with dementia, because there are more and more homes that are specialized in taking care of people with dementia, which is a very good thing because it needs special knowledge. And I think we need more research in many fields, of course, because there's little investment so far. Hopefully there will come more. And if there were a possibility to have a blood test or other tests instead of the very long and not very fun tests you have to do today, and all these questions and things, feeling like a little student sitting there. So if we have a new way of making the test, I think that would be just fantastic. And if there were new medications, not only to try to keep down the rhythm going forth, but really to stop and change. And I do hope that there will be much more research in the field to find not only the causes, not only the symptoms, but the causes. Because I'm absolutely persuaded that there is a way to get rid of Alzheimer and probably other types of dementia. Because I talk about Alzheimer because that's my dementia. So that's my message that I wanted to give you. I hope it was clear enough. And it's not, you're not unhappy living with Alzheimer, as you can see. Bye.
Thank you, Birgitta. I'm very super delighted and pleased to join this talk, and also to have Birgitta supporting us in this initiative. So a few words about the initiative. 3-4 years ago, my dad was telling me, my dad was living with Alzheimer some years ago, and he was telling me, besides an olive tree in a garden in Normandy, he was telling me to do something about Alzheimer. So the next day I was running 10K in the forest. After 10K, I could not answer the question. I added 10 more K running in the forest. It was 20K. I didn't find the answer to his question. And additional 10K, 30K running in the forest, I came back home with the solution. Solution was to raise few Ironman in Europe, across Europe, to beat Alzheimer. So this is the vision, the mission, 2 objectives. The first one is to raise public awareness and prevention about Alzheimer, so telling the people and meeting up the people along the 5 races in North, Central, and South Europe. And the best way to raise awareness is to make a movie documentary. So during each race, we will meet the local Alzheimer community, doctors, people, caregivers, and anyone who is involved in the Alzheimer, and of course we will push the limit by crossing the finish line during each of this Ironman race. And this is the first mission, raising awareness and prevention. So we're meeting up also with the young team. We are meeting young team to raise what you have presented, Lavinia, in the first one of the first slides about the diet, the healthy life, about being stimulated, cognitive and physical exercise, obviously with this Ironman. And we are pleased to attend together with Birgitta next year a few meetings with the young team here in Switzerland. So this is the first objective, to raise awareness and intending to make prevention. And the second objective is to raise money for researchers, to raise money for scientific research, to find the root cause and the solutions, as you mentioned before, Birgitta. And the second collect of money is to support caregivers, family, and the patient living with Alzheimer by organizing walks and museum visits and so on here locally around Lausanne. So we've got these 2 objectives. So far we did raise the first 2 Ironman in Switzerland and Portugal. Next year we will race in France, Denmark, and Spain. So we will keep meeting up with the Alzheimer community during each race. And by the end of 2024, we will come up with this movie. And we were super delighted and pleased to have Birgitta in the first part, in the first interview we did in CHUV here in Lausanne. And we were super pleased to be inspired by Birgitta and trying to deploy her message across this initiative. So this is what we intend to do around this initiative, and we are pleased to share this with you today. If any questions for Birgitta and myself, or maybe later.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe you can elaborate also a little bit on how you could break the barrier of silence, because there is a lot of stigma about this disease, especially in a country which is very pragmatic and very, based on excellence, where psychiatric disorders and this, of course, dementia is also a psychiatric disorder, are a little bit stigmatized and are seen as a burden in society, and they are a burden as a matter of fact. But I see that Birgitta has such a positive attitude, and she's a champion herself. But I would like you to tell us if you did find any barrier, and maybe you didn't find any barrier. How was your first feeling?
I think you
are you asking me?
I ask to all of you.
I never, I don't accept barriers.
You don't accept?
No, because I worked for the Alzheimer Association Switzerland, and we had many meetings, and we visited pharma and everything, and many didn't want to talk to us. And I always said to them, well, if you push me out through the door, I'll come back through the window. So I'm not the person to hesitate. I dare to speak. I always did. And so much more when I know how useful it is, what I have to say today. Is perhaps the most useful I've ever had to say in my life. Because I know how many people don't dare to tell people that they have dementia. And I think that all over the world, Alzheimer associations and doctors and the family members should try to make the person, not hide away the person, but make them want to talk about what they're living. Mm-hmm. And it's not hurting.
That's fantastic.
And it takes long time. So you have the earlier you knew, well, the better you can organize the precious time you have in front of you.
Well, your courage is incredible. I think it's really
just to add, maybe from the perspective when I started this initiative, yes, it was a clear taboo about dementia, and it was the first mission to break the window, basically, and to talk as much as possible about this reality. As the statistics you presented, Lavinia, earlier, it's a clear reality, and we did face barrier. We did face barrier to collect to meet sponsorship, partnership from society, from different market sectors. We got difficulties to basically get people to support this initiative. It's not sexy.
It's not sexy.
Yeah, it's not sexy. That's right, yeah. So it was clearly some barrier. It was tough. It is still tough today. We don't have the budget yet to complete and to achieve this the mission I presented before. But we will go. We will insist, and we will manage. We'll manage to go to the end. We will deliver this movie, and we will complete the race. And I think if we can make a very tiny step, then it will be a victory. Besides this taboo and all these barriers. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much. And I think Manfred Rosas has a question.
Yeah, to Birgitta. Birgitta, great to see you. Didn't have a lot of time to chat at Lausanne 10, but great to see you. Question, and to see how positive you are. Of course, I think we all know that each Alzheimer disease or dementia can be different, question to you, are you following a specific diet? Are you following the ketogenic diet? Is that something that helps you?
No, I have not. I go on eating as I've always have, but I eat very, a lot of fish, a lot of vegetable, and I go on drinking my wine, which is, I'm sure, the best thing I can do. No, but I keep physically very active. This morning I went to the fitness and made my exercises. So no, I go on living as I did before, and I sleep dreadfully well, or almost too well, because I really have to shake myself to get to wake up. No, I'm no, nothing special, but I know I'm happy compared to other people, probably because I know so much about what dementia is. That makes it possible also to have a positive life when you live with dementia.
Absolutely.
Miki,
Thanks.
thank you.
It's such a joy to have you here, and I am glad you asked everyone to turn their cameras on, because it certainly is much nicer to see people's faces, and you see me the whole time you're speaking. I'm nodding, and what I really think is so phenomenal about what you said is this concept of really making the best of things. And then secondly, something else that you said really resonates, and I'll talk about it later today when I present. But you're saying, you know, we need to think not only about symptoms, but about causes. And you're absolutely right. There is fantastic work that's going on that may not necessarily be visible because it's happening, you know, in terms of scientific research around the world. And it may not be things that are sexy that grab the news, right? Like a big investment or a big drug approval as yet. But there is some fantastic work going on from groups like ours and then other ones all around the world that are really thinking about what you said, about patients deserving better, patients deserving to understand root causes, right? Not just how do we describe a disease or tell someone they have it, but what started the process in the first place. So I just wanted to say I'm extremely thankful that you raised that, and I'm so grateful to have you here today, and look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
So we have a question from Nicola Lelo. He apparently cannot raise his hand, but he can talk. Can you talk? No, you cannot talk. Anyway, he asked the question to Birgitta, what does it mean to get organized? What do you do to get organized? Do you have some specific chores?
Well, I suppose I write down what I want to do and have to do, and I stick to what I've always done. I always manage my life on myself. So, so far, I don't think I feel that I may be forgetting things that I should be doing. So I'll come back in a couple of years. I will tell you how I went on. Yeah, I keep writing down more things. That's for sure. But that's about all I can say that I do, especially. Is that an answer? No.
I think it is. So if you can hear me, it's because you said the earliest you know, the more you can organize. I was just wondering about the organization, and yeah, I think it's a it's an action.
Because I'm convinced that, perhaps I'm wrong, but I'm convinced that people want to decide for themselves how they're going to live in the future. And that's what I mean. The earlier you have a diagnosis, the better you can take your decisions when you know exactly what you are deciding. And you can also do things that you want to do when the time is there. Like traveling, like reading, like doing a lot of things. You can learn whatever. So don't stop living. It's a sign to tell you, go on. and do now what you want to do before it's too late. You could say that, anyone could say that to oneself. But when you know that you have Alzheimer and that is going to drop down slowly, then it's even more a reason for taking the decision, okay, I'll do it now. Like giving money to my nephews and nieces, and they are very happy and they can tell me, and that's lovely.
Oh, that's
I don't have
fantastic.
to wait for my death.
I think that we will discuss, you gave us so many points where we can touch upon during the panel discussion. I've taken down some. We are now to the next talk, and I thank you both, Birgitta and Hassan, for your dedication and for your power and your courage, in the sense.
He's a great guy, yes.
Yes.
So I'm getting better as long as I'm getting inspired by Birgitta. That's it, basically.
That's great.